Hello, I'm Prometea, you're watching Tyrannosaurus Girl, and today I'm answering the question, how can I ask somebody's gender without being rude? So this is a question that I lifted from an LGBT-related Facebook group that I participate in. And the question actually was answered by me and other people in that same group, but I felt it was a really interesting question that some other people may be wondering about, so that's why I decided to steal it for my channel. And well, to answer simply, you don't ask for somebody's gender, and think about what you are really trying to find out, what you're really trying to ask when you say that you want to ask somebody's gender. You're not trying to find out what their genitals are. That would be really rude. That's not something that you ask random people. Are you trying to find out what gender they were assigned at birth? Are you trying to find out whether they are trans or not? That's really none of your business. That's not something that you should ask people. Are you trying to ask what their gender actually is? Because it may not be clear by their appearance, they may have an androgynous image. That's not something that you should ask people, you know, it feels kind of weird. And especially if that person happens to be non-binary, the answer may be a bit more complicated than what you are prepared to hear at that moment, or than what would be appropriate to discuss in the context that you are meeting this person. So what you really want to know, if what you are trying to achieve is not being rude to this person, treating them with respect for their identity, then what you're trying to ask is what their pronouns are. And that is what you should ask very clearly. I mean, yes, there are some subtleties in how you should ask that question, but really you cannot go wrong with it. One thing though is, please do not ask what their preferred pronouns are. Do not use the word prefer. My pronouns are not my preferred pronouns. They are my only pronouns. So if you ask it in that way, it's like you are saying that I have some real pronouns and I prefer to use something that are not my real pronouns, so that they are like fake pronouns, but you are going to be nice and call me that anyway. That's not really what you should be doing. So please do not say that. Of course, some people do have preferred pronouns, but that's kind of a specific situation of some non-binary folk, because they recognize that the majority of people still have trouble wrapping their heads about non-binary pronouns, especially if they are different than they and them, and we still make the assumption when we first meet someone that they are either a man or a woman. That is something that socially we still don't have visual cues to recognize someone as non-binary. We do not make that assumption, so we tend to call people by a binary pronoun by default. And so some non-binary people have a set of binary pronouns that they prefer, but that's kind of like what they settle for when someone doesn't call them by their actual non-binary pronoun, in a situation that they would not want to correct, or, you know, simply what they feel better when they assume. Like, for example, their pronouns may be they and them, but if somebody assumes that they should call them he, you know, they may be kind of okay with that, even though that's not their actual pronoun. But, well, in general, you should not ask what someone's preferred pronouns. Simply ask what their pronouns are. And how can you ask that? Well, the best is to simply say, "Hi, I'm Prometea, my pronouns are she and her, what are yours?" You know, that way is, I think, the best way, because it achieves several goals. First of all, since you are starting by volunteering what your pronouns are, you are normalizing that conversation. You are not singling out that person, you are not making them feel weird, you are not implying that you believe that person is transgender, or that there is something weird with their appearance that you cannot pinpoint what their gender is, because that would be rude. You know, that person may not be trans, and some people may take offense to people assuming that they are trans when they are not. But also, even if that person is trans, if you single them out, if you only ask them, you know, it may simply be awkward because you are putting a spotlight on them, or you may be outing them And by doing that, you may be threatening their safety, even though that's not what you meant to do. Or you may simply make them feel bad about their appearance. So it's kind of like saying, hey, did you gain weight? You don't do that. And also, if you ask everybody in a group what their pronouns are, then you are opening that space for that conversation. So really, you are creating a safer space to talk about pronouns. You are normalizing that conversation. And you may also be surprised by answers from some of the other people that you wouldn't have thought of asking, because some of them may be non-binary. They may use pronouns other than the ones that you would assume, and they may be too tired or shy or whatever to say what their pronouns were, but by you starting that conversation, you have opened the possibility for them to do so. You are giving them the space for them to say, hey, my pronouns are actually they and them, not he and her. So, the best way to ask somebody's pronouns is simply to start by volunteering your own and then asking what theirs are. So, well, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions that you want me to answer in future videos, any other subject that you would like me to discuss, any comments, any suggestions, please let me know here in the comments of the video, or through Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or Ask That of Him. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and see you again next week. Bye bye!